안녕하세요. 미국재정가이드 데니얼입니다. 2021년 봄 미국은 코로나 백신 접종이 본격화되면서 드디어 확진자 숫자가 감소되기 시작하였습니다. 그래서 올 여름부터는 일상으로의 복귀가 가능하지 않을까 기대해 봅니다. 코로나19 사태로 인해 미국 연방정부는 위축된 경제를 끌어올리기 위해서 세 차례의 경기 부양 정책을 통해 천문학적인 자금을 개인과 기업에 지급하고 있습니다. 그러나 이러한 비상 재정 확대 정책으로 말미암아 향후 인플레이션과 세금 인상에 대한 우려의 목소리가 점점 높아지고 있습니다. 그러므로 엄청난 변화가 예상되는 포스트 코로나 시대를 대비하여 여러분의 재정 상태를 꼭 점검해 보시기를 권해드립니다. 이번 영상부터는 시청자 여러분께서 앞으로 받게 될 소셜 시큐리티 베네핏에 대해서 알아보도록 하겠습니다. 미국에서 일정 기간 이상 합법적으로 일하여 번 소득에 대해서 세금을 낸 사람들에게 연방정부가 제공하는 사회복지 혜택이 바로 소셜 시큐리티 베네핏인데요. 이 또한 많은 논란과 변화가 2021년부터 일어날 것으로 예상됩니다. 먼저 2020년 11월 말 미국 CNBC 방송에서 방영된 영상을 여러분께 소개합니다. 제가 시청자 여러분의 이해를 돕고자 한글로 번역을 해 놓았으니까 끝까지 영상을 시청해 주시기 바랍니다. 이 영상을 끝까지 시청하시게 되면 여러분께서는 미국의 사회복지제도의 역사, 소셜 시큐리티 베네핏이 가지고 있는 당면한 문제점, 그리고 향후 전망에 대해서 알게 될 것입니다. 그럼 지금부터 시작해 보도록 하겠습니다.
This is my bi-weekly paycheck. And this is my gross pay. It's blocked out because, well, privacy. And here are all the taxes I'm paying. There's the federal income tax, and because I live in Manhattan but work for a company that's based in New Jersey, I pay New Jersey state income tax, New York state income tax, and New York City income tax. Yeah, I know. There's also a Medicare tax, and then right here is something called the Social Security tax. It's 6.2% of my pay stub, which is then matched by my employer. The money that I'm paying into the system now is supposed to come back to me later in retirement. But for a while now, experts and politicians alike have been warning that the chances of that actually happening aren't looking so good.
If in fact he continues to withhold his plan to withhold the tax on Social Security will be bankrupt by 2023 with no way to make up for it.
Social Security faces a big mismatch between the revenues it's scheduled to take in and the benefits that it's scheduled to pay out. Currently in 2020, we're paying more in benefits than we're receiving in revenue.
A Quinnipiac poll shows that less than half of Americans actually think that Social Security will be able to pay them a benefit when they retire.
More and more, young clients are asking whether or not Social Security is going to be there for them. And we don't know the answer to that question.
Since 2010, Social Security's cash flow has been negative, which is just a fancy way of saying that the agency isn't collecting enough money through taxes to cover what it's paying out. But all wasn't lost. There was still this huge trust fund behind Social Security, so they started tapping the interest on that fund. But here's the thing. Starting in 2021, they'll have to dip into the trust fund itself to cover those benefit payments, and even that pool of cash has an expiration date. Trustees of the fund expect that by 2035, it won't be enough to cover full benefit payments, and thanks to COVID-19, that date may come years sooner than expected, which has some retirees seriously worried about their future.
I don't know what I would do if I didn't have it or if it stopped. I really don't know. I couldn't live off the small pension. I would drain my savings and investments within a couple of years.
But experts speaking to CNBC think that lawmakers will not, under any circumstances, let the system go bust. Which begs the question, what went so brutally wrong for the 85-year-old program, and will it actually be there when you're ready to retire? U.S. President Franklin D. Roosevelt signed the Social Security Act into law halfway through the Great Depression.
This Social Security measure gives at least some protection to 30 million of our citizens who will reap direct benefits through unemployment compensation, through old age pensions, and through increased services for the protection of children and the prevention of ill health.
Social Security was originally intended to just do three things: provide benefits for retired, unemployed, and disadvantaged Americans. Over the next 40 years, the program ballooned. In 1939, amendments added child, spouse, and survivor benefits. But the real changes began in the 1950s. Benefit amounts substantially increased. Coverage under the program became close to universal, and a new disability insurance benefit was offered. 1965 was the year that Social Security got into the business of health insurance. Medicare and Medicaid provided a vital lifeline to health insurance coverage for the country's older and low-income adults. And in the 1970s, were expanded even further to include a much larger group of people, like individuals of all ages with disabilities. The last major changes came in 1983, when benefits and taxes were adjusted to help generate surpluses in the program and to build up Social Security's substantial trust fund. That's the same fund that's now at risk. Now, while all these changes to the system were underway, the 9-digit Social Security number was fast becoming the single most important identification number in the country. It was originally meant only to log a worker's earnings over their lifetime in order to calculate their retirement benefits. But it kept being adopted by more and more government agencies and private sector companies as the identification number of choice. The IRS started using it for taxes in 1962, the military in 1969, and later, everything from driver's licenses to credit reporting agencies, your landlord, utility companies, and cell phone providers started using it too. So, for better or worse, these 9 digits have essentially become our national ID by default. And now, the number is assigned when you're born, and it tracks you till you die. The first monthly Social Security check was cashed in 1940 for a grand total of about $23. Fast forward to 2020, and the average retired worker gets around $1,500 a month from Social Security. Nearly 9 out of 10 people aged 65 and older receive Social Security benefits, and Gallup research shows that some 57% of retirees say it's a major source of income in their retirement, eclipsing by far the second and third sources, such as 401ks, IRAs, and other work-sponsored pension plans.
So do I depend on Social Security? Absolutely, without a doubt.
Cece Dominguez has been retired for 10 years, and she tells CNBC that she doesn't know what she'd do if the payments stopped.
As the economy changes, with prices going up and they're continuing to go up, the money that I had was not stretching in the same way it used to. And we're talking about gasoline, food, utilities, just the basics that we have to support ourselves with Social Security on a fixed income does not match that increase.
Cece has been working several part-time jobs to make up for the difference between what Social Security pays her and how much her bills cost her every month. So how exactly are those monthly benefits calculated? Well, they're based on your income, the year you were born, and the age you decide to start taking money out. Wondering how the math works? Well, here's a case study. The median U.S. salary is about $52,000. We'll round down to make things easy. If you have a traditional job making $50,000, you pay 6.2% of your salary, or $3,100 a year in Social Security taxes. That number is then matched by your employer. Those numbers are straightforward. Figuring out how much you'll get back when you're ready to cash out is a different story. Let's say you'll turn 62 in 2020, and your average lifetime salary was $50,000 adjusted for inflation. To determine your benefits, Social Security takes your top 35 earning years, adjusts them for inflation, adds them all together, then divides that number by 420, the number of months in 35 years. That gives you $4,166. Still with me? That number is your average indexed monthly earnings, or AIME. Simply put, it's your monthly pay for the last 35 years. But there's still some math to get through. Your benefits are determined by bend points in an equation, almost like a tax bracket, but it's used to give you money instead. The less money you've made, the higher a percentage of your salary you'll get back. This is designed to help low-wage retirees. So let's run your monthly average from before through that bend point equation. you get 90% of your first $960 and 32% of everything you made between $5,785 and $960. And at $50,000, we won't have to worry about that third bend. So now we have our number. You can expect a monthly Social Security check of $1,890 if you wait until your full retirement age. But there are two big factors that will affect how much you take home every month. One of them being cost of living adjustments, or COLAs, which we've assumed will be a 2.6% pay bump Social Security gives retirees every year to keep up with rising prices. And secondly, if you wait a few years to claim your benefits, you can add hundreds of dollars to your monthly benefit check. You are first eligible to begin receiving your Social Security benefits at age 62, but you won't get the full benefit amount until the full retirement age of 66 years and 8 months. Back to our hypothetical case. If you wait until 70 to collect benefits, your monthly check jumps to almost $3,000. That's over $1,000 more than you would have gotten at your full retirement age every month for the rest of your life.